Now it's time to have a little fun here inside of Illustrator. I'm going to be utilizing one of my favorite tools, the blob brush. It's just fun to say, blob brush. And in this case, I'm going to use it to create some really interesting artwork and also do some stuff that you probably didn't even know you could do inside of Illustrator. I'm going to create a brand new blank document to start off with. So I'm going to hit Command or Control N on my keyboard, and I'll just hit OK to accept the defaults. Now, traditionally in Illustrator, you've always been able to paint and draw using the brush and the pencil tool. The problem with the paintbrush tool and the pencil tool is once you've drawn something, it's kind of hard to add something to that artwork unless you knew how to use things like the average and join commands, or you knew how to use the pathfinder or stuff like that. With the blob brush tool, you're actually able to join artwork together by utilizing a brush, which is really neat. So in this case, I'm going to draw out a basic shape, just a rectangle. And with this rectangle, watch how cool I can make it look in just a few short and easy steps utilizing the blob brush. I'm going to switch the fill and stroke so it's a black rectangle. And I'll make sure I'm working on the fill. And then I'm going to grab the blob brush tool. When I bring the blob brush tool out, you're going to notice that it's a little paintbrush. And also, it's got a little circle target that follows me around as well. This is a brush. In Illustrator, you can actually alter the size of a brush by pressing the right bracket key or the left bracket key on your keyboard. Pressing the right bracket key increases the size of the brush, like so. Hitting the left bracket key decreases the size of the brush. I'm going to get a pretty big size brush here. Now traditionally, if I had grabbed the paintbrush tool and I started painting over this thing, it would create a brand new object on top of it, and it would be separate, and I would have to merge it together. With the blob brush, I can actually unify whatever I paint with the underlying object. Check this out. I'll just make a scribble and let go. If I grab my selection tool and select it, this is all one object now. Let's undo that and try it again. This time, I'll just kind of go inside make some art like that. When I select it again, it's still one piece. However, I left some gaps, right? If I grab the blob brush again, I can come in and easily fill those up. And now, this is just one single piece of artwork. I can also utilize the eraser tool to create my paths as well. The eraser tool is right here, and you can get to it by clicking on it or utilizing Shift and the letter E. Once I hit Shift E, it's automatically going to bring the eraser out. Again, I get that same cursor, and I can increase or decrease the size of the brush by using my bracket keys. If I wanted to alter my artwork with the eraser tool, I just click and drag just like I did with the blob brush. I'll just follow the contours of this, like so. I can even reduce the size of my brush and make even smaller details. Like that. Once I'm done, I click away or select it, and you can see it's still one big object. So I'm actually creating these complex paths on the fly without having to know anything about the pen tool, the pathfinder, or anything. It's all joining and maintaining its appearance as I go along. And remember, I started out with a rectangle. How cool is that? Let's delete this and try something else. I'll grab the blob brush, and I'll just start to make some artwork with the blob brush. I'll reduce the size of my brush by holding down the left bracket key. Once I get it to an optimal size, I can begin to make some artwork. In this case, I'm just going to draw out a little cartoon character. So I'll draw out some eyes, like so. Nose, mouth, give him some eyeballs. And that's not half bad for somebody drawing with a mouse. Now, once I do this, I can actually add to this as well. With my blob brush selected, I can then add something like hair to the outside, whereas traditionally you would have had to add the hair and then join it with the face, right? In this case, I've got the blob brush selected, so I just draw. I can add some hair. Something kind of like that. You can add little pieces here and there and just keep adding stuff, and it becomes part of the original path. So now when I select the outside of the face, it's automatically selecting everything, even the hair that I've drawn. So as you can see, the blob brush gives you a new opportunity for making paths in a way that you've probably never thought of before. Traditionally, you've thought of paths as sort of like this mechanical thing that you had to put together with pieces and parts from other places. Now you get to simply draw inside of Illustrator and the paths are created for you. It's a much more visual way, almost like putting ink on paper. And that's what I like about the blob brush. It's so much easier to create free-form artwork without worrying about the technical stuff going on in the background.